Hey Drew, I think that this is looking pretty good. Um, Once again, though, with this one, I would make this Alex text the same as this drunk cowboy text here. It can stay white. Um, Maybe make it the same color white if you end up using white on the front cover. So if you go with like a creamy white, make sure that they're the same colors because you don't want to go with too many colors for your text. Let me open up this document. So one thing I would do with this, and you do have your background color going all the way to the bleed, which is awesome. But one thing with this text, I would click on your text, go to properties. I'm going to drag this out, and then scroll down in the properties panel with this text box selected and uncheck hyphenate. You don't want that hyphenate on. And I notice there's an extra space here. So just add in one space, maybe even do a return there, maybe not. I think that this might be on too many lines. So I kind of think actually this might look better. If I push W on my keyboard, I can see where this is going to crop down to. And this should actually be moved in, similar to the space that we used on the front cover. Let me see what we got going here. Okay, and so we want this space to match the space that we put on the front cover, which would probably look a little bit more like this, hopefully. So let's just do that. And I think that maybe, how big is this? This is 21 point. So we can make this smaller. And you're using a different text here, a different font. So maybe just make it the same. You don't want to use too many fonts, so maybe just make it the same as what you have here on the front cover, which is Dharma Gothic. Let's see. Maybe just regular. And actually Dharma Gothic is really small, so maybe size it up. This shouldn't have so many spaces. He has extra spaces, so after the periods, so just make sure that there's just one space after the periods that are in here. Alex, like I said, could be drunk cowboy, maybe just keep it consistent. And you could do a left align on that, or let's see, where's that at? Here we go. Oh, right align, sorry. And then this could maybe be full, like justified. This one here. If you're not in Essentials Classic, you won't see it up there, but you can see it in the properties panel here. Yeah, and make it the same color that you used here on the front page, which, I mean, this color is kind of nice. It's a creamy color. You can double click on it to get the CMYK mix, which is 03160. So, if I can remember, NA 03160, push OK. Now they'll match. The front and back covers will match, at least in the colors. Of course, with the bevel, it looks a little different. Maybe something a little bit more like that. I mean, if you're not really liking it cutting that close to your image, you can always change the leading between the lines, which is the space between the lines. In the properties panel here with this one here, you could make it 29, a little bit tighter. It's still kind of going over your image a little bit, but actually you have this separate, so you could maybe bump it down a little bit like that, or have it like that maybe, and make sure that this is good and centered so that these two spaces. So maybe something more like that for the inside cover. Just to make sure that you're not using too many fonts, you don't want the hyphenation on, having a little bit of contrast in, you still have your font pair that you used on the front cover, but having contrast in the size as well, because so the size of this is 29 and the size of this is also 29, but this Dharma actually gets pretty small. And maybe having the front cover look a little bit more like this. You can also take away the effect. You know, it might not need that bevel and emboss effect on it. You know, maybe sometimes simplifying things is better. If you want to keep the same color scheme that you went with before, that's fine, but maybe just try and bump up the contrast a little bit more. But yeah, I think that something like this could work. A little bit more like this. Anyway, talk to you later.